Hello and welcome to our session on navigating skills-based hiring and how new technologies can be supportive of students succeeding in both college and career pathways. We're excited to be here with you from ISTE's SkillRise initiative. We start all of our sessions with a technology tip just as an opportunity to create peer learning as we all share different ways to use technology and use that as a chance to support students and staff in building digital skills together. Today's tech tip is how to create a QR code, which we will be using in today's session as a way to quickly access additional resources that are about skills-based hiring. Obviously, QR codes are a great way, a quick and easy way for people to access links. Instead of like a long URL or needing to text or email, they can just scan with their phone and access a link. Chrome has a built-in feature that allows you to create a QR code from any page on the internet. What's especially helpful is that there's a option once you create that QR code to either copy it to your clipboard or download it. And so you can create a QR code, for example, and then copy and paste it directly into a slide deck for a presentation or for a class lesson and things like that. So our tech tip today is a way to quickly create QR codes for your classroom and for instructional materials. To kick off the session, I just want to ask a question for you to think about on your own. Obviously, this is a video that you may or may not be watching on demand. So this is just something to maybe pause the video and think about. We'll do that a couple times in the session today, which is, as you think about the students that you work with, what are some of the primary barriers that limit their ability to succeed both in college and career pathways? So again, I'd suggest take a minute, pause the video, think about, hey, when you think about learners that you've worked with either today or in the past, what are some of those barriers or challenges that prevent them from succeeding both in school and in the workplace? With those ideas in mind, I want to welcome you again. My name is Joey Lerman, coming from ISTE's SkillRise. Our primary work is to support adult learning organizations, which includes higher education and workforce development, with technology and digital skills. So we offer frameworks and courses that help organizations and students think about what are the key digital skills needed to thrive in the future of work. One thing that we try to emphasize is that our frameworks are about higher order, more advanced digital skills. So instead of a discrete digital skill like how to send an email, we focus on how to use technology to set goals, solve problems, collaborate, communicate, and be a lifelong learner. And so you can learn more about that profile, which looks at these digital skills, and our various courses and frameworks at our website, skillrise.org. Our team on adult learning at ISTE is shown on screen now, and at the end of the presentation, I'll also put up our contact information in case you want to learn more about our work and get in touch with us to find ways to bring our resources to your program, which includes courses and digital skills assessments and credentials and things like that. So on our agenda today, we're going to be talking about what skills-based hiring is and which digital tools are helping to nurture this skills-based hiring ecosystem. We're also going to share resources in case you are interested in learning more about how to get started with a skills-first mindset, in case this does become the future of how work and learning operates. So to start, I'm going to play a short video. It's about 90 seconds long. I'd encourage you again to kind of prime your mind a little bit, think ahead. As you watch this video about LERs, or learner employment records, what questions do you have, just kind of high level as you watch this introduction? What comes to mind? What does it make you think about? What are the key questions that you have as you watch the video?
Every person's career path is different, and keeping track of the sum of our experience can be difficult. Resumes and education transcripts help, but keeping them up to date, accurate, and verifiable is a constant challenge for students, workers, and job seekers. What we need is something like a digital passport, where all of our learning and skills can be brought together in one easily accessible place. That's where LERs come in. An LER, or Learning and Employment Record, is a comprehensive digital record of skills and competencies learned in school, on the job, through volunteer experiences, or in the military. It includes credentials, diplomas, and even employment history. And when all your LERs are combined, it can help you identify training opportunities, explore career paths, and even apply for jobs. Pilot programs for LERs, supported by the T3 Innovation Network, are already underway across the globe. Learn how you can join this movement.
Okay, thanks for watching the video about LERs. I hope it piqued your interest, or maybe you have a question that you're sitting with now, which we're going to attempt to answer in the presentation now. But if not, there's a lot of resources on the internet as well that hopefully you can use to learn a bit more about LERs and skills-based hiring. You'll see a QR code on screen. This is also a chance to pause the video and use your phone, access the QR code, which will take you to a link, to an article where you can read a story that looks at the life of a credential. So one type of an LER can be a credential, and this story kind of shows what a credential is, why it's created, how it's validated, and things like that. So as you read, we have a few questions that we'd encourage you to consider. What are the questions that you continue to have about credentials and wallets and job matching platforms? How might these tools benefit, and why might these tools not work? What challenges or barriers do you think students or schools or employers might face in adopting these types of technologies? So again, if you're inclined, I'd encourage you, pause the video, scan the QR code, and read that article just as a primer for the rest of the presentation. Now I want to talk about some of these technologies that power skills-based hiring. One thing that you'll probably see as we get into the next few slides is that skills-based hiring is a growing trend in workforce development that's really only made possible because of the development of these new digital tools. And so although this is largely a movement that's focused on people and workforce development, it's become possible in recent years because of advancements in digital tools, data interoperability, and different technologies that allow for this kind of conversation to even take place. And so understanding what those technologies are and how they work can be key to seeing what the potential and vision can be with skills-based hiring. So the first of the three technologies that we're going to look at are digital credentials. These are essentially electronic badges or certifications that validate someone's skill or learning experience. One thing I'll emphasize about a credential is that these can be across a variety of types of certifications, whether we're talking about micro-credential, like an online certification course, but it also can be a high school diploma, a college degree. All of these can be digitized. There are a variety of benefits to digital credentials, most notably that it simplifies the process of validating that credential or that skill set. So if you think, for example, about college degrees, if an employer wants to validate that a college degree is official, that it's not just something that's added to a resume, but that job seeker actually earned that credential, it's a pretty cumbersome process. A student has to formally request it, typically pay a fee, and then it might take a couple of weeks for the college to accept it, process it, and then send that college degree to the employer. What's challenging or what's problematic to me about this is that if a student has spent the time and energy to earn a degree, they should own that degree. They should be sovereign over that data, and digital credentials provide an opportunity to do that. And so when a student earns that credential, it gets issued to them, and they can take ownership over that credential and pull it into a wallet and use that anytime they see fit. Another potential use case is students that complete some but not all of college. Because they didn't get that degree, they don't really have proof of their learning. But with credentials, you could issue a credential to a student every time they complete a course. And so as they work their way through school, even if they don't finish all of college, they're still getting credit through those credentials that they can pull into their wallet and then use those in job applications to say, hey, I didn't finish college, but here's some of the courses and skills I developed while I was in school. Each of those credentials can include an array of metadata. So for example, a college degree doesn't really tell you much about what the student did in school, but with credentials, say if we issue them at the end of every course, we can include vast skill data. So what were the skills that the student developed in the course? How did they develop those skills? How were they evaluated? Maybe link to a portfolio and things like that. And so it can simplify verification, it can give students more ownership or sovereignty over their data, and include much richer data that can be more descriptive about the skills the students developed, whether that's through volunteer work, in college, in high school, in courses, in online classes, and things like that. Digital wallet, I mentioned a few times on the last slide. These are secure systems that allow students to take ownership over their data and pull it into their record as they acquire different skills throughout work, school, volunteer, and so forth. Digital wallets, like I talked about in the last slide, are secure platforms that allow you to store your credential. So student completes a class, student finishes a degree, and that credential gets issued to them digitally. And then with their wallet, they can claim or take ownership over that credential and then store it and continue to use it as needed. It's really just a piece of software. Think about LinkedIn. Essentially, it can serve as a digital wallet that allows people to take ownership over their work and learning experiences, and then privately store that and then share that with schools and employers as they see fit. So thinking about that data sovereignty, the wallet is a key piece because that wallet can live on a student's phone if they want. There's thousands of different wallet providers. It just allows students to conveniently own and control their own data. So again, you think about that college transcript experience. Student finishes college, issues a degree, and the day they graduate, the college issues that credential to them. Student can take ownership over it and put it into their wallet. The last of three technologies we're going to look at is called the job matching platform. This is kind of the powerful tool that brings everything together. So with a job matching platform, you can plug in your wallet. The wallet will automatically scan to see, hey, what credentials have you earned? Let me look closely at those credentials and understand what skills are in them. And then after the platform scans my wallet and pulls out all those skills, it can then match me with local employers that are hiring, looking for those skills. So again, you can kind of think about common apps today like LinkedIn or Indeed that essentially just bring learners and job seekers together in a secure, sovereign way. And so there are tools on both sides. An employer can quickly find candidates. Job seekers can find employers, and they can set up automations and alerts to make this process a little more smooth and seamless. So when you think ahead to what this technology might be able to eventually do, oftentimes students have skills that they don't realize they have. And so with these credentials, they pull that credential into their wallet. It's got metadata in it which shows their different skills. And then these platforms can pull those skills out and match with local employers. So conceivably, students could just get an alert on their phone and say, hey, you have skills that match a local employer's needs. Would you like to apply? Things like that. So this graphic is kind of purposely confusing. I want to use it just to show all this different kind of data that can be included in credentials and wallets and job matching platforms, and kind of paint a vision for how this technology could be super powerful in one use case amongst many use cases. So I, for example, have worked at a community college. I've worked at a community college for almost 15 years, saw a lot of students firsthand that were wasting time and scarce financial aid, whether that's moving between different career pathways or getting stuck in developmental education and things like that. So in a future of skills-based hiring, I can imagine a student that shows up at school, whether it's a community college or a short-term credentialing program, and they open up a job matching platform instantly, maybe even with an AI agent, so they can do this with plain language. They can say, hey, what employers are hiring in the region? What kind of skills are they looking for? What industries are growing? What kind of earning potential can I expect in any of those sectors? So they're just having a plain language conversation through a chatbot, but because of the data interoperability, they can look at real-time market trends. They can figure out who's hiring, what skills are needed. Once they identify the skills needed, they could then say, hey, now help me find a high-quality training program that will help me develop those skills. So they find an employer who's hiring, they understand the skills that they're hiring for, and then they can map those skills to local training programs and evaluate those programs based off of custom reviews and job placement rates and earning rates of people that have completed those programs. Then when they complete the training program, they get the credential, and the job matching platform can then automatically notify the employer. And so when we think about this idea of career navigation, career counseling, even just like finding and choosing training programs, a lot of it becomes a lot more powerful and specific with these tools because of the way data systems can talk to each other. So instead of a student sitting down for career navigation and say, hey, I'm loosely interested in this, or I think I want to be this, they can get specific and have conversations and say, hey, let's find employers that are hiring today. What skills do they need today? What are the growth skills they'll need to develop to thrive in that career once they access those entry-level jobs? What are the training programs I need to earn these credentials? And then how can I use those credentials to more effectively present myself on a job application? Okay, so looking ahead at what this future may look like, I would encourage you again to kind of pause and think about, now that we've learned about credentials and wallets and job matching platforms, how might our students benefit? What questions do you still have? Why might this vision not work? And remember, that's just one use case of many use cases that could exist down the road. We at SkillRise just completed research over the last year. We partnered with 3 training providers across the country that are all at different stages of moving towards a skills-based system where they use credentials and wallets to help students track their learning experiences. We worked with a national university, we worked with a local community college, and we worked with an adult education program. Like I said, each kind of at different stages of development and awareness with credentials and skills-based hiring. We did research for the last year, just talking to students and instructors and administrators in those programs to say, hey, do you know what a credential is? Do you use credentials? What's been your experience using credentials? What kind of digital skills do you think are essential for succeeding with these technologies, and so forth? And so for the next few slides, I'll just kind of recap what we learned. Our goal in this research was to say, hey, we believe in skills-based hiring. We think this technology could be pretty powerful for adult learners and training providers and employers, but that future isn't here yet. What do we need to bridge the gap? How do we get from where we are today to this system that we think ultimately could be a more inclusive system and more effective system for all stakeholders? So our goal was to say, hey, like what do we need to support successful career navigation using these systems? Our intervention in that research was to interview students and then allow them to take an online course, an assessment that look at these key digital skills. And then we followed up with a similar kind of interview. You can see our research questions at the bottom. Essentially what I just recapped was, what do job seekers and training providers need to thrive in a skills-first future? So here's an overview of what we learned, and you can find the full research report on our website. First of all, most people we talked to had a variety of experiences, not necessarily all within the field that they were studying, but nonetheless, they had developed valuable skills across a variety of work experience. One person mentioned being an actor in a previous career and developing meaningful communication skills through that kind of experience, but now they're trying to become a pharmacist. And so they were trying to figure out, like, hey, I've kind of switched careers, but in my previous career, I developed valid skills, and I want to make sure I'm able to effectively communicate those through a hiring process. We also learned that awareness about training programs is pretty piecemeal. The majority of people we talked to just kind of luckily learned about a training program because a friend or a colleague or a family member had said, hey, you should check out this program. That feels like a key vulnerability, that access to high quality training shouldn't necessarily rely on just luckily hearing about one. And so that's another area that we see the skills-based future being potentially powerful, because with these data systems, it can be ideally easier for students to find and access high quality training. People definitely saw the potential with skills-based technologies, but very few people were using any of those technologies, as you can imagine. Even schools that had adopted credentials and issued wallets to their students, a lot of them had kind of like adopted the wallet once, but then not followed up with it, not logged in a couple times. And so the technology is there, but the use of the technology is pretty limited. And broadly speaking, when we asked job seekers, hey, what are the digital skills that you think are essential for career success? Repeatedly, we heard people talk about resilience and adaptability, which feels notable to me. Like I said, I've been working at a community college for almost 2 decades. And 10 years ago, if you asked students what are the key digital skills you need to thrive, in my classroom, they would have said like, oh, maybe email, the ability to send and receive email. But now it's all about adaptability, resilience, kind of those higher order skills that we also agree are essential. That feels important to understand, because the narrative, the conversation we have with our students in our classrooms may have shifted. And maybe we need to talk less about the importance of digital skills, which people agree on, and now just provide support and tools and training for how to develop these skills. Okay, so moving ahead, I want to return to that question that we started the session with, which is, what are the biggest barriers your students face in college and career pathways? or succeeding in the careers of choice. And I'm curious now, having learned a little bit about digital credentials and wallets and job matching platforms and this kind of vision for these systems to speak to each other, do you think skills-based hiring will address any of those key barriers? Why or why not? And this is just kind of a moment, again, to pause the video and reflect about that. Just to talk a little bit about who we are at SkillRise, like I said, we provide courses for job seekers and career coaches all about these essential digital skills, these higher order digital skills like lifelong learning and digital resilience and adaptability and flexibility. All of the courses are self-paced, they're fully online, they're grounded in authentic workplace scenarios. So we put students into real life workplace scenarios and say, hey, here are the key digital skills that you'll need to thrive in this environment, just to kind of showcase and give students a little more confidence with that kind of career awareness. We also offer an assessment and credential. And so this credential is designed to assess some of those key digital and lifelong learning skills. What I'll emphasize is that people that pass the assessment earn a credential. So this can be a chance for students to start taking claim over a credential, adding it to a wallet, learning about the different data included. So if you're looking for a low stakes option for students to earn a credential, build some confidence with that credential, and then use it to add to their job applications and resumes and LinkedIn profiles, we offer a digital skills credential with our assessment. This kind of gives you a quick glimpse into what that assessment looks like. It's, like I said, grounded in authentic workplace scenarios. So we put test takers into a workplace environment and then ask them various questions about those digital and lifelong learning skills. So if you're looking for a digital skills training program, which includes courses for both staff and students and an assessment that comes with a digital credential, we'd be excited to talk about ways to partner. So I'll put our contact information up shortly, and hopefully you'll keep in touch, and we can talk about ways that we might be able to work and learn together. Lastly, there's some great skills-based hiring resources on the internet. Check out Credential Engine, that publishes a lot of reports about the state of credentials and also how these kind of data systems can speak to each other and the power of that metadata. The Open Skills Network and Digital Promise have both published great resources and reports also about skills-based hiring. The Jobs for the Future LAR Landscape Scan is probably the one-stop shop I'd suggest for checking out a high-level introduction to what credentials, wallets are, and why skills-based hiring is a growing trend in workforce development. And then the LER Hub is a good kind of repository or suite of resources. So once again, my name is Joey Lannerman from SkillRise at ISTE. We are the International Society for Technology and Education, and I hope you are leaving the session with maybe a question and something that excites you about skills-based hiring and these new technologies. I want to emphasize that this future isn't here yet. There's a lot of promise, there's a lot of potential around this promise, but it hasn't necessarily been adopted yet, and so I think the best thing we can do to hopefully nurture it is learn about it and talk to our students about it and talk with employers about it and create opportunities for people to see that this technology can be transformative if implemented well. And so we're excited to play a small part in nurturing that. The one last thing I'll say is if you want to learn more specifically about skills-based hiring, I'll point you to an MLE that we've developed. This is a mobile-friendly micro-learning experience at mle.skillrise.org/skills. That's mle.skillrise.org/skills. And that's something you can play on your phone when kind of like on your way to work or waiting at the doctor's office or something, just as kind of like a mobile-friendly and interactive way to learn about skills-based hiring through the lens of 4 different job seekers. So thank you again. Contact information is on screen, and we will hopefully talk to you soon. Take care.